Hello and welcome, and thank you for joining our webinar, Stop the Click, the Human Error in Cybersecurity. So we've got some amazing experts on board. Our overarching Axiom GRC group, we have VinciWorks, we have Bulletproof, and we have IMSM. And we're going to deep dive into the really interesting and rather shocking statistic that 88% of cybersecurity breaches are caused by human error. We had to look into this more, so we've got our experts on board, and I am going to hand it over to them so they can introduce themselves and tell you who they are. So over to you, Luke.
Hello everyone, my name is Luke Peach. I am the Head of Compliance Services at Bulletproof Cyber Limited. So that essentially means I look after our data protection team, our cybersecurity team, and our information security team, offering all sorts of consulting services and training services. Working in the business now for about 12 years, so that puts me in a very good position to advise you on all the good, bad and ugly that I have seen over that time to help back up that stat that Carolyn just mentioned. I'll hand over to Nick.
Hi everyone, great to be here. Thank you so much to Carolyn and IMSM for putting this on. My name is Nick Kinson-Mayo from VinciWorks. I'm the Head of Learning and Content here. Our main focus is on compliance and supporting companies and also law firms on all aspects of compliance, but obviously cybersecurity and data protection are fundamental to compliance. So that is a big part of what we offer. We do a lot of e-learning to support organizations promote better compliance around data protection and cybersecurity. And we have a number of cyber courses, phishing courses, and data protection courses that we offer.
Hi guys, I'm Alex Foster, so I'm the Customer Success Manager at IMSM. So I, in a nutshell, will look after all of our clients on their journey from just the initial sale all the way through to renewal and growing that client with ourselves. And I'm on this webinar because I want to really help give an insight into, well, how are we going to do this? How are we going to implement this service that we've purchased, and what that journey is going to look like, because it can be daunting, but we're here to help and get you through it. So I'm really impressed with the setup of today. I'm really excited to get my teeth into it and have some brilliant discussions.
I think it's great because it's definitely a collaboration. There's so many elements to setting up an effective information security management system. And I think we've got all the experts in the room, so we can all talk about it, deep dive into it, and hopefully be of assistance to somebody. It's such a important and crucial thing in this day and age. We only have to look on the news nearly every single day. And yeah, it's going to be a really interesting discussion. But before we start, I just want to let people know, to the top right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see some tabs. First of all, on the far right, you're going to see a tab that has a little paper clip attached to it. Now, if you click on that, you should be able to download some really useful guides, so please feel free to do that. Next to that, you're going to see a little question mark. Now here, please put in your questions. If we don't get round to answering them during the webinar, we will reach out afterwards and send you that and hopefully help you out. So please utilize this time, drop your questions in there, and we'll try and answer them in the webinar. If not, it'll be afterwards. And finally, next to that is a chat box. Now, it's a chat box for the organisers, so you won't be able to chat back, but we will put in anything there that we think is valid that you may want to read. So click on that tab, have a look. At the moment, we do have some really useful links and downloads pinned there that you may want to do that throughout the webinar. And in between each speaker, we're going to have a very quick poll that pops up on screen and a very quick exit survey on the way out. So I think it's time to get on with our expert speakers, who I'd like to thank very much for popping on and giving freely of their time for this. Hopefully we get to help you out a bit and certainly make you think about your information security management system, your cybersecurity and your learning, and of course your customer success. So let me think, what question am I going to, we're going to start with Luke. And I think Luke, actually, I think it'd be great just to get back to basics. If you can tell us what counts as a data breach, and maybe in your experience, what departments tend to have these data breaches and why?
Yeah, well, I can go straight in there and I can say, from a department perspective, it's the ones that are targeted the most that fall for it the most. So that will usually be HR and finance. Those two ones hold the keys to the kingdom when it comes to personal data and, of course, bank data, which, of course, is highly prized by attackers. Sales is another very, very popular one, because in sales, we're always chasing that lead. We're always going after the next opportunity. And if an email is written enticingly enough for us, we're more likely to potentially fall for that, or if a phishing attack, which I'll come to in a second. But I suppose above those three is also the C-level directors. There's such a thing called whaling, where hackers will target big C-level directors or board members, members of the SLT, however you want to define them, and try and get them to fall for a phishing, vishing, smishing, all these other lovely words that I'll come on to in a minute. Because number one is, if we get one of them to fall for our little hacking attempt, we don't need to hack anyone underneath them. And number two, those types of people, in a lot of cases, they don't actually attend their cybersecurity training or complete their cybersecurity training because they're too busy, or they're being caught up in other meetings left, right, and centre. And of course, their own training and awareness, unfortunately, suffers as a result. So there's that to sort of bear in mind. In terms of what counts as a data breach, there are quite a few things. Everybody knows about being hacked. I mean, that's in the news at the moment, isn't it? And I'm sure we'll touch on that at some point today. That's the most obvious one, because when a hacker gets onto your system, you have no idea what's happening. They could be deleting things, transmitting things, copying things, or just simply locking you out and issuing you with a ransom note. Other things that include data breaches: accidental web exposure. I've seen quite a few people take selfies at work, stick them online, and then on their Instagram feed or on their LinkedIn feed, they've got a picture of them at their desk like that. But in the background, their desktop monitor is fully on show with a spreadsheet of customer data, email addresses, phone numbers. Recruiters in particular, I've seen do that.
I was just going to say, how would that work? How would a selfie work? But now you've just explained it. You don't even think about these things, do you, really? It's just one of those things you do without thinking.
It doesn't even have to be a selfie nowadays. You can take a celebratory photo saying, "Well done, I've got this certificate," shaking your boss's hand. But again, in the background, some offices have emails printed out and stuck on the wall, Wi-Fi passwords, this sort of thing.
I've seen that.
Accidental web exposure can also cover things like accidentally sending things to your personal email address to work on them, or uploading them to your personal Dropbox account. Now, those two systems, as secure as you may think they are, they're not approved by the business, and that hasn't been taken into account into their data protection or their information security risks, and as a direct result, you class it as a data breach. There are other ones like internal data breaches, which in hindsight probably aren't as bad as the hacking ones, but they are still breaches nonetheless. If I was to accidentally send something to the sales team that was not meant for the sales team, it was meant for HR, and the person in the sales team saw data that they didn't need to be able to do their job, that technically does count as a data breach, particularly under GDPR. So there are loads of different things that can count. And I think, really, if we go back to that first stat that was mentioned at the top, about 88% of breaches being caused by human error, it's not really surprising. And it's not actually new information. It's been around for quite a while. In fact, the number's actually only ever gone up every time I hear about it. It used to be 60%, now it's 70%, then it's 80%, and now we're at 88. I'm pretty sure at some point it's going to get to the 100 mark at this rate. But I think to understand it in more detail, I mean, I'm just going to throw out one slide. I promise it's just one slide. You need to understand sort of like the threat landscape, or the different threats that a business can face. And I often use this in some of my staff awareness training to really paint a picture of all the different businesses out there, what could be trying to cause a data breach. And if you look down this list, malware we've already talked about, but phishing emails, also as whaling emails, as I mentioned earlier. They're very tricky at the moment because of AI, thankfully. AI is coming in and correcting spelling errors and making them look more appealing to people. In fact, the two most common phishing emails I see is you've won a free £5 Amazon voucher, because everyone wants one of those, and reset your email password. They're actually using security as a way to get you to click on something. So the very thing we're trying to teach you about and be aware about is actually out there trying to actually cause you some problems.
Hang on, Luke. You said an Amazon £5 gift voucher.
Oh yeah,
that just a £5 is enough for somebody to just throw everything out of the window, click on the link, and Bob's your uncle. That's it. Oh my gosh.
It's also £5 off when you think about it. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the phishing emails are getting more and more harder to spot, and AIs and deepfakes, so videos you can't trust, are on the rise. I'm sure some of us probably watched a few during the last elections. Spoiler alert, if Barack Obama ever does endorse Donald Trump for the next presidential election, probably it isn't real. Social engineering is someone just essentially taking advantage of humans. And you'll see with all three of these things, malware, phishing, AIs, and social engineering, human beings are involved and they are the target. And the simple reason for this is because it works. I can spend loads of time as an ethical hacker trying to hack through computer systems to try and take down all the barriers that your IT team has put in place. Or I can target the person who hasn't done their security training and who's just going to click on a link and download something that they shouldn't. Well, each and every one of you watching this, you are a threat to a business for this exact reason. You might do things accidentally. Technically, you might actually do things on purpose as well, but we won't go into that. I will just say at this point, if you do feel that way towards the business you work for, please go to HR and sort out your issues professionally rather than taking down the business with you. Social media. Everyone's got social media nowadays. I think if I ask for a show of hands, who's got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, what else is there? TikTok. If anyone's still got MySpace or Bebo as well. Social media is an absolute buffet for ethical hackers because you put everything on there. You put your name, your mum's name, your brother's name, your dad's name, your children's names, your pets' names for your partner, your anniversary date, your date of birth, how much your child weighs when they were born. Everything is on there. And 9 times out of 10, those are going to be the passwords you use or the questions you use to gain access to certain systems. And again, there's the human element to it. We want to be social. We want to interact. We want to show off things we're so proud of. But those things that we're so proud of usually integrate insecurity in some way, shape, or form. I especially like it on Instagram when people share pictures of their kids going to school. First day of term, our little Jimmy's first day at school, but I can see exactly what school they're going to. So if I email the parent saying, oh, little Jimmy got a detention today, and all I've got to do is sign it off from the school, you're more likely to fall for it. Again, it's all about information that's being put out there. Phishing and smishing is voice phishing and text message phishing. Some of us might have got a text. I got one at Christmas from my boss, basically telling me I had to buy Christmas presents for everyone who worked for Bulletproof. I'm not going to do that, of course. But that was it being smished, trying to get me to buy iTunes vouchers for everybody. Now, of course, the human element in that is me falling for that text message. Competitors, I mean, the human element kind of starts to go away a little bit here, but it is conceivable that competitors of yours will pay hacking groups to try and take you down. Nation state as well. The only thing I'll say about that one at the moment is, let's just say there's a few countries that don't like each other at the moment, and there will be sponsored or state-sponsored hacking going on in the background. Quishing is a new one to most people. Quishing is QR code phishing. We've all done it. We go to Nando's nowadays, and instead of speaking to an actual human being to order our food, we scan the QR code on the table and order it on the internet. Well, the hacking community has got behind that, and they're printing out their own QR code stickers and sticking them over the real ones. So you go to a fake Nando's website and place your fake order. Quishing, it sounds made up, doesn't it? But no, it's 100% real, and it is very scary. Again, human element. If something is becoming easier for you as a human, chances are it's becoming easier for us in the hacking community to try and take advantage of you. Supply chain and theft are the other two. Theft, of course, is not nice when it does happen. But at the end of the day, human beings are involved in that as well. And sometimes people make it easy for thieves by leaving things in coffee shops or going on public transport and advertising your phone and your laptop to everybody. And supply chain is, you might not be the target of the hacking group. It might be your customers, or it might be your B2B contacts. So even if you think I'm not worth hacking, which you should never think because everyone is worth hacking, but you might think you're not worth hacking, ask yourself who your customers are, ask yourself who your contacts are. I often use Amazon as an example. I live about 20 minutes away from an Amazon warehouse. If I set foot within 1 meter of their perimeter fence, I will be politely asked to go away. However, they do have a local cleaning company that cleans their offices twice a week. As an ethical hacker, if I wanted to take down Amazon, would I waste my time hacking the really, really secure Amazon warehouse directly? or would I go and take advantage of the local cleaning company that hasn't invested as much in cybersecurity? That is supply chain security. Now, it's important to note that these are all the different threats you can face. There are more, of course there are. I've just fit as many as I can on a single slide. But all of these kind of things do sort of send shivers down people's spines when you start to actually think about them in more detail, and especially with the latest news. Marks and Spencer's, Co-op, Harrods, all of these companies are suffering data breaches as a result. I believe the Marks and Spencer's one was caused through supply chain because one of their contractors, I believe, was compromised, and they got through into the M&S systems as a direct result.
There really is opportunity everywhere, isn't there? When you think about it, you've just given us a lot of food for thought. Everything we do every day, because we're online, there's just opportunity everywhere. I mean, I only learned about phishing having spoken to you, Luke, recently. You know, and it just blows my mind, really, all the opportunity that's available for people to take advantage. One thing, could you answer what is an ethical hacker? There may be some people that are listening that don't fully understand what that is, so it would be great if you could just do a brief explanation.
Yes, so an ethical hacker is a paid professional who comes in and simply tries to hack your business. Now, you can set the parameters, you can give them your username and passwords and see what they can see, or you can give them no access at all and see what they can get. And what I tend to do when I do some ethical hacking is I do the more personable hacking, where I try and call receptionists, security guards, where I check to see if windows are left open and fire exits are propped open by fire extinguishers. And the idea is, once you've been hacked by an ethical hacker, nothing bad has actually happened because they're under contract, so you're already okay to share details with them. But the point is, you then know how a hacker could get into your business. And then you can take that and inform your staff awareness training, you can change your policies, whatever it may be, so that when a real hacker tries, it's likely to be successful.
It's like a dry run, isn't it? It's a dry run, and this is what we found from that.
Absolutely. You can get technical ethical hackers as well. It's called penetration testing. But there are many different forms, and it's definitely advisable that you all do some form of it, at least annually, I would say.
I think what's quite an eye-opener as well is you reeled off some huge companies there, FTSE 100. It doesn't matter how big you are, you're still prone. So I think something to take away from today is, don't worry if you think that you're vulnerable because you might be seen as a smaller company or a startup. It happens to the companies with 2 employees to 200,000, doesn't it, Luke? It's not, no one is bulletproof, but we're going to make you bulletproof.
In essence, one of the first questions I will ask a customer is, okay, how many data breaches have you had in the last 3 months? And the amount of people that say none, and I say, sure, that means you don't know about them or you haven't recorded, because there are so many things that count as a data breach. And I think on average, a data breach happens in a business at least twice a day, be it someone emailing the wrong. I mean, even CCing the wrong Adam Smith, for example, because there's loads of Adam Smith or whatever, and attaching a spreadsheet that Adam shouldn't be able to see is considered a data breach, and it highlights it could be an issue.
Yeah, and these are little hiccups that anyone could do, no matter whether you've been in your role for 10 years or 10 days. It can still happen, and it happens to the best of us as well, doesn't it? And from a customer success point of view, I think we always need to reiterate that it's, don't worry if you think that you're quite disorganized as a company. We're here to help you along the way and make sure that there's also that behavioral change as well. So when we come round to a renewal or another audit or whatever it is in a year, you're going to be in a better position. Then before you know it, you're just on this train then, and you've got these skills and you've got these implementations done and dusted. And it doesn't matter what scale of size of business you're on at all.
It's definitely
the same.
Stopping and thinking, isn't it? Do you think that should I put our poll up, Luke?
Yeah.
Would you like me to put that up? Because I know you've got a couple of questions on there, and it would be lovely if people could just drop, just have a look and see what they think. So let's put yours up. So I'm going to launch a poll. If you could just answer that, it'll just take a minute. That would be fantastic. It makes us more aware of you out there and what your problems are, or what your strategy is. It would be lovely if you could then vote on that. It'll just take a moment. You should see that on your screen now. And basically the question is, when was the last time your staff did cyber awareness training? And I think that's something we're going to talk about a little bit later on as well, because cyber awareness training just isn't a one-off, is it, Luke or Nick? You know, both of you are involved in cyber training there. It's not something you just do once, is it?
No. Cyber awareness training, the more you do it, the better. If you can do continuous training, absolutely fantastic. Some companies do it annually or biannually, but if you've never done it or if you're older than 12 months, chances are you're missing out on telling people about the latest threats. Nick, I'm ever so sorry. Could you go on mute for a second? I think there's some background noise.
Yeah.
Just there you go. Okay, cool. And I think the key thing to mention as part of this is we can't cure being human. that's sort of a very, very key thing to say. But what we can do is attack the human condition by approaching people, process, and technology. I can write things down for you. I can tell you exactly how to be secure and what to do to reduce your risk, and I can do everything like that. I can speak to your IT guy, I can speak to your CTO, and we can get all the technology to give you a best head start as possible. But on the people side of things, the only thing you can do is make sure they get good knowledge into their brains. And there's many different ways we can do that, which of course is why we're here today to have a chat.
Yeah, and it's that continuous improvement as well, isn't it? As the hackers get more advanced and more clever, so do we as companies, and then so do we as the service provider. So we've constantly got our finger on the pulse of what's new, what's coming, what to be aware of. And so how often are you doing that cyber awareness training? Well, to stay on top of it, you could do it and segment it throughout the year and keep on top of it, move it back or move it forward, and be always aware of what's going on and retrain if you have to. I know it's a lot of resource, but it means that you're one step ahead as well.
And here's the results just come up as well. I hope you guys can see that.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting. There is quite a few that have never done cyber awareness training, which is quite astounding. But I guess, like you said, you may not know the importance of it. You may not have implemented that into your strategy. Maybe you don't even have a cybersecurity strategy. So that's quite interesting. What do you think about that, Luke?
I think if it's never or older than 12 months, I would guess you're in the micro to small business size, because it's usually around that time that when your business is of that size, that cybersecurity hasn't really become part of the agenda as part of bidding on contracts, or supplier due diligence hasn't forced you to do it, or you're only one or two people, and you think, oh, that kind of thing is for companies with massive teams. But the reality is, it doesn't matter what your size, you will be a target. And whether you are keeping yourself abreast by watching some videos or having a training seminar or going to one of those events, where a security event, for example, where you can listen to people, subject matter experts, giving talks on some of the latest threats out there. Even if you're that size, you can still do some training or some awareness that sort of just bridges that gap.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Luke, for spending the time and sharing that with us. Really fascinating. Could talk forever about this. You've taught me so much in the last couple of weeks, just having a few conversations here and there. I think what I'd like to do now is move on to Nick. So Nick Henderson is our Director of Learning and Content at VinciWorks. So I'm going to ask Nick a question, and then he can take you through his demo and everything as well, which is absolutely fascinating. We have to evolve as well, and certainly what Nick's going to show you shows that involvement. We have to keep one step ahead. So really, I think my question for Nick is, I'd love to hear about the different types of training and basically how this can reduce human error in the workplace.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that Luke showed us so many ways that we're under threat. And I think it was really, really interesting to see that just when you break down the level of threats that we're facing, it is all angles, all places, all the time. And I think, you know, the message that we're putting through here is that it's not enough to do something just once to defend ourselves against these kind of threats. We need to be continually thinking about how do we do that, and also continually thinking about new and better ways of training. Because it's one thing just to deliver training once a year, once every 6 months, once a quarter. Some people are even doing it once a week, depending on kind of the type of company or the level of threats that they're facing. But how are we actually improving our training, and how are we making sure that it is effective and stays effective? That statistic that we started with, 88% of breaches are coming from human error. Our kind of best way to reduce that kind of risk is making sure that our humans are less prone to error. So more training, better training, and training that hopefully is more effective. And that's what we are trying to do at VinciWorks, is come up with new and better ways of delivering, particularly cybersecurity training, and the kind of all the training elements within that world of cyber. So from phishing simulations to data protection tools, to making sure that we're not going to fall for some of those quishing or smurfing or whatever attacks it is, that we're actually doing as much as we can to defend ourselves from just the wide array of threats that are out there. So what I want to do is just take everyone through for a moment some of the tools that we've been developing here at VinciWorks to kind of get better at that. So if you let me share my screen, I will be able to just show our presentation. And then and what we've also been doing at VinciWorks is finding ways to bring AI into all of this, because on the other hand, the scammers and the attackers, they're using AI. So we need to figure out ways that we ourselves can also use AI to better defend ourselves. So we've developed this program called Conversational Learning, which is an AI-powered cybersecurity simulator. So I'm just going to take you through some of the key elements of that, what it means and what it does. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about what AI is in the e-learning space, how we've been using it, what we're doing, and show you a little bit of this live demonstration. There is a link up there in the chat if you want to try this out yourself. We're launching this next week, but there's still you can still sign up for an earlier sneak peek demo version. And any questions about it at all, please put it up in the chat, and we'll love to have a look at some of those questions. So AI is being used in lots of different e-learning aspects at the moment. You've probably seen a lot of e-learning providers and training providers, or just providers in general, slapping AI onto things. So some people are using AI for content creation, some people are using AI for content distribution, and some people are using AI for content consumption. So we're focused on this area around AI for content consumption, whereas we're training the AI with our experts. So we're already giving it the information that we've developed, that is in part of our existing courses, that is based on best practice. We're not just putting an AI in to kind of make up things and deliver stuff that might not be necessarily accurate. Our focus is on delivery in this aspect. Just a little bit about VinciWorks. We have a broad array of courses covering hundreds of different compliance topics, anti-money laundering, anti-bribery, but also health and safety, and particular are in cybersecurity and data protection. We have over 2,000 customers in 30 different sectors, 50 different countries, and then when people join VinciWorks, they tend to stay with us because they really appreciate the variety of training options that we offer. And we train 60 of the UK's top 100 law firms, and we have a number of different e-learning products, LMSs, and course customization tools to support all of your training efforts. So I just want to talk very briefly about the ways that we're using AI, because obviously it's revolutionizing so many things. One way we're using AI is to help people find content better. So once someone is part of VinciWorks, they can use AI to get better recommendations for their courses. For instance, they might search anti-bribery training for law firms, or courses that cover fire safety, and then be given relevant content that they can roll out to their users. Another way we're doing it is through AI-enabled course editing. So we have in-browser editing. That means an admin can take any course that they want to deploy to their staff and amend it, edit it, and change it in the browser by themselves. So if you want to make your policies more clear within a training course, if you want to put a phone number and that people might, call if they have a problem, if you want to take a scenario and make it feel more relevant to your business or to your staff, you can do all that within the browser, and you can use AI to support you with that. So a lot of firms that we work with are working in multiple countries. So using AI generated voiceovers or AI generated translations can mean that you can make change in one course and then roll that out into courses all across your team to make sure that everyone doing your training has got the most up-to-date information. Now I come to AI-enabled conversational learning. This is our evolution in learning, and it's a new delivery method that that tries to kind of go beyond the static slides or the kind of video-based training that we're often used to. It takes a scenario-based learning model, which has really been fundamental to learning in companies for decades, where we're learning through scenarios. So we're given, here's an example of a phishing email, spot the red flags. And we're taking that beyond by integrating AI-enabled chatbots that help people guide through the specific compliance topics that we're looking at, whether it's, we're going to look at the phishing one, but we also have this for a number of our different other compliance topics as well. And the AI will ensure that the user understands what they're doing by asking questions, making up scenarios that the user can kind of get to grips with. It will adjust content based on the responses. So if the user just isn't getting it and isn't able to pass on to the next part, then the AI has all the time and patience in the world to continue supporting them. And we've actually found it much more engaging than passively watching a video, because the user is getting real-time feedback, and it hopefully improves participation and completion rates, but also understanding, because one of the issues with cybersecurity is that, yes, you can do it once, but so much of this can easily be forgotten. And when cyber threats are changing constantly and evolving continually, what we want are users that are always able to have cybersecurity at the front of their mind and understanding, okay, what is this email that I just got? What is this phone call I just got? Is it real? Is it something I should be suspicious of? And then they understand the procedures, whether it's calling someone up else to check or changing their passwords, whatever the procedures are to keep themselves safe. Then more frequent training and training that where people better understand the issues at stake will hopefully improve those outcomes and reduce some of that 88% number where people, that's where kind of threats are coming from. So just a little bit about why we've gone this direction of conversational learning, or why we've added this to our training options, is that we feel it helps people by thinking, responding, and being able to apply the knowledge that they're working with dynamically. It gives them real feedback. So, as we'll see in a moment when I show how it works, is that you can go as long as you want, really. You can keep talking with the AI. The AI is not going to get, tired out. It's not going to have a firm limit where the training has to stop. It is there with you until you understand the risks, understand the topic, so you'll come away with more or more secure understanding of the situation. And also mimics real life, interactions. It's not just about rote memorization of what things are. It's actually speaking with you, discussing with you, and listening to the user to kind of tailor the whole experience for them. So now I'm going to show what the course is like. We're going to give it a little go. So I'm going to just share a different screen and we'll see how it works. So this is like the opening part of it. You might, if you've used ChatGPT before, this might seem familiar. It's based on that idea, but it is trained on our own VinciWorks expertise. So it starts off with a scenario. Here we are. We're going to dive into the world of phishing, one of the most effective methods that criminals use to exploit individuals, organizations. So we're going to say, let's start. And what it's going to do is show us just a short video to give us an example of what a kind of phishing attack is like. So we won't watch all that now, but it's one of videos we've got there where someone is experiencing a big problem with their computer. They are being cyber attacked. What do you do next? So now the AI says to us, okay, well, what red flags did we notice in that video that might indicate some sort of phishing or malicious attempt? Now, me as a user, let's be honest, there's some people, you know, when they get training, they don't necessarily want to do the training. They don't feel they have time to do the training. So I might say, I don't really know. No, I don't think this is important. So let's say we've got someone who really is not interested. It is important, and we'll see what the AI does. So it's going to take us back around to the situation to say, okay, well, these are the red flags. It is actually important, and it will take us back to, okay, how can we overlook these details, lead to these sorts of serious consequences? We might say, okay, so one of the red flags was a dodgy email address. So the AI will then take that in and say exactly. So it's going to give us that immediate feedback and explain to us why that is wrong, why that's suspicious, and then we're going to keep going. In your opinion, what areas of the organization was vulnerable to phishing? So we keep going with the AI. It's going to take us through all of that, and I might say, you know, I don't really understand why. Can you explain it to me somehow else? Can you explain it another way? Because we're using this kind of generative language, that it's able to kind of go back and explain to us in more detail. The malware can spread across the network. It's explaining to us the different ways. Does it help clarify? Let me know if you have more questions or if you're ready to think about areas in your organization that might be vulnerable to phishing. So it's really taking us through this. And it's actually, we're using voice. People can use voice memos to speak to it. We can, have lots of different ways of making it accessible. It's available in every different language the users speak. So we're seeing this aspect of conversational learning, adding another layer of defense to to cybersecurity by having a new and AI-enabled way that users can be trained and really like get to grips with, okay, this is the situation, this is the issue, and really keep users engaged in the whole process so that they come away with actually knowing what the risks are, knowing and what the red flags are, and hopefully knowing what to do about it.
That's phenomenal. But before I go, because I am going to ask something, but before I go any further, I had a little giggle when the picture of that first video came up and it had all the little malware, little pop-ups. Has anybody watched the IT Crowd when Jen's computer gets infected? That so reminded me of that bit. Absolutely love it. But with regards to, we talk about e-learning, and it's something I'm quite interested in. And we talk about accessibility and engaging people and people learning at their own speed, because some people are fast learners, some people auditory learners, some people like to look and read. So I think introducing AI as a form of learning is just amazing, because you can really go back to all the things that you're unsure of and just go over those things again. So I think it's
Exactly.
great. I've never seen it used before, never, not in
Yeah.
e-learning.
Yeah, I'm really excited. This is a new way of doing it because we've seen, some ways of using AI where AI is making the content, and
Yeah.
then there's question marks over the content, and particularly for VinciWorks because we're working with so many law firms. We need to make sure that everything is absolutely correct. That's the main issue with AI generated content is always the issue that it might not be right. So by training it with the content that we already know and are assured that is correct, and then using the AI as a layer of delivery, like you said, Carolyn, the AI
Yeah,
is with you the whole journey, the whole
yeah.
process. And whether it's phishing, whether it's anti-bribery, whether it's harassment, it's there with you as long as you need. As many iterations of the subject as you need, and it takes you through step by step so that the understanding, someone's coming away with a strong amount of understanding, just like having a trainer sit beside you and take
Yeah.
you through until you've actually got the content down. And just in the chat box there, you really helpfully shared a few different links. So Halfway down the chat box message, there's a couple of our VinciWorks content there. We have a compliance technology buyer's guide. So if you're looking at buying compliance tech, we've ranked some of the best ones out there. We also have a cheat sheet on some of the recent cyber attacks and what to do about it. And that third link is how to kind of test this conversational learning by yourself. You can sign up for a demo. It is going live next week, but if you want to get early access, you can click that link and have a go yourself.
Fantastic.
I think
that sounds an amazing opportunity.
with that, Nick, with basically implementing AI into a conversational learning approach to the training, I think what you're also doing is you're helping people that may have that neurodiversity as well. Like, imagine all the training that we've been through where it's document after document after document, and it's you've got to read through this and then click that you've read it. It can be a real struggle for some people. The blended learning approach, we are covering such an array of learning types that we're going to get more success from that training. And what does success in the training mean? It means that during their journey, they're going to be more confident. They're going to be able to grow better. They're not going to reject it or bury their head in the sand. You're actually opening up now to getting a bigger score rate, aren't you? Like, we want them to
Absolutely.
take this onboarding and be comfortable with it, because there is a mindset, isn't there, with training? Oh, I've got training, or oh, great, I've got a training day, so I've got a jolly. Like, there's two weird opposite ends of the approach. Now it's, well, I'm actually just going to have a chat with an AI bot, and it's going to be really comfortable for me, and I'm not going to feel like I'm going against the grain, and I'm going to get something from it. So I'm a huge advocate of AI, because some people will be thinking, oh, AI, it's going to take over us and all that. We're using it as a tool, and we're harnessing it in the right way, and we've just seen that from yourself. So yeah, I'm very impressed with that.
Just want to pop in. I've just had a message through on chat saying somebody can't see the chat, so I'm unsure what's happening then. So, but rest be assured, if you're not seeing the links, we are going to send them out to everybody afterwards. So you'll have all those links to click on. So if there's any problems with anybody's setup, we are going to send them out afterwards, so you won't miss out. I just wanted to specify that just in case. Is it okay if we put your poll up as well, Nick?
Absolutely.
We had a lovely response from the last one. It's really helpful. So I'm going to put Nick's up now, and we're going to launch that. And what Nick has wanted to ask is, are you planning to use AI to improve your cybersecurity training? Now, this is probably very new to people, so that would be interesting to see if people are given the opportunity to embrace AI and to use that as part of their cybersecurity training. Would they? Are they not sure? We'd love to hear from you. If you could please vote on that for us, that will just really help us understand where you are and what your thoughts are.
Yeah,
that would be
so
fantastic.
many ways to use AI as well, which can make it feel overwhelming and make it feel kind of complicated. And what we wanted to do with this conversational learning model was try and make it as straightforward as possible. So it's using a format that we're hopefully familiar with. A lot of us have used sort of chatbots in the past, so it does feel familiar. But also, Alex, your point about accessibility, we really tried to build that into it. So I wasn't able to show it in this demo, but you can have it speak to you. You can speak to it. So you can do this in a completely verbal way, as well as a kind of typing and talking approach too.
Exactly. And as AI evolves, there's nothing stopping us from having an avatar approach where there is a photorealistic avatar, and that is someone that you can engage with. And we're seeing that approach is getting extremely positive feedback, because they feel that personable approach with someone, and we all want it, don't we? How many times have we said, oh, I just want to talk to someone? And we know that businesses can't always set up a call center with 2,000 people that are on the end of a phone. So AI is a way that we can still reach your needs. Yes, obviously it's digitally and it's through artificial intelligence, but it's giving you the feeling and the comfortable element that I'm getting the answers I want. And also what I really enjoyed, Nick, was you can get to the finite details of what they want. It's not How many times do you see it where they go, did you mean issues with your account? Did you mean you can't log in? And it's like, no, I didn't, because I typed it like this. So that's what I mean. The beauty of AI is it will figure that out perfectly, and then it
Exactly.
will get your answer. It won't just go, oh, it must be this, which we see all the time, don't we? So what you're preventing is people going, oh, I'll just shelve this because it's not giving me the answer I want.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if there are definitely a lot of people that are looking at using AI to improve that training, because it has to be a tool that we harness. We can't escape it. I know people are scared of it, but it's not to be feared. It's to be used and harnessed as a tool.
Absolutely.
I think
We definitely do.
all of that taken into account. I mean, if you look at the answers to this poll, see there's quite a few people that are like, no plans, and not sure. I think whilst yes, AI is here to stay and we are going to embrace it, it is all absolutely fantastic, because why wouldn't it be? It makes loads of jobs easier. It also accounts for many different people's learning styles. I do think there will always be a place for the person-to-person training, or even the people who do want to read those long processes. Whilst yes, AI is the future and probably will overtake everything else by a large way, I am 98% certain the people that have put no plans or not sure are the ones that will always advocate for, no, I like a trainer to come and do my training, or nope, I will do my video e-learning and I don't want an AI telling me what to do, or whatever it may be.
Completely agree.
I think it's absolutely fantastic that it's another tool. That's the main
Exactly.
thing.
And it's blended. It's blended.
Yep.
It's not all or nothing. It's just a really good way of catching those people that do struggle a little bit with traditional methods. But Luke, I completely agree. We cannot say that everything is AI, and it won't be. It needs the human element, and it needs the detailed documentation element, or it needs the workflow chart, or whatever. Of course it does. It's just what Nick and his team have created is an element of just ticking every box and making sure we capture and we include everyone, which is brilliant.
What Nick and his team have created is a level of amazingness. I think it's amazing. It's really interesting to see what people think. What do you think, Nick, to the results of the poll?
I think it's really, really interesting spread there, and I think that those that are looking to start are probably on the right track, because particularly when it comes to cybersecurity and phishing, things are just evolving so quickly. And I think for me, that's one of the big takeaways from today, is that the scale of threats that we face, and we can see in the news the evolution of threats. If they can take down something like M&S and take down Harrods and take down the whole countries, it is incredibly, incredibly fast, the pace of evolution. And I'll say that the nefarious actors, the people on the other side, are already using these technologies. They already are doing it at a pace that would be shocking and scary if we were really able to see how much they're using these sorts of AI tools. So we also have to increase our defenses and use every tool that we have available in order to keep ourselves safe.
Definitely. Really fascinating subject. Again, could just speak forever about it. I think it's exciting. I love technology. I love the way that we are actually embracing all the different ways of learning. I think it's really important. One thing doesn't fit everybody. One size doesn't fit all. Definitely. Fascinating. Thank you so much for that. That was really, really fascinating. And the fact that we can actually all go now, click on your link, and actually try it for ourselves, just to test it out. Great. So we're going to move on to Alex. Alex Foster is our Customer Success Manager at IMSM. And I have a little question here, a hypothetical question for Alex. So obviously we've talked to some experts today. So IMSM, we offer ISO consultancy. So say a business has ISO 27001. So they're implementing their information security management system. They've got that in place. Let's say they're undertaking cybersecurity training. So VinciWorks, Bulletproof, they've had some ethical hacking done. They're embarking on some penetration testing. So they've got everything in place that they should be to have a really secure cybersecurity strategy. But then we get to the part where the communication, we've got to be able to communicate these things also to staff and customers. And with your knowledge of customer success, having worked with some really, really large household brands over the years, Alex, I wondered if you would like to talk us through a bit about customer success and why communication is vitally important, even if we've got all these things in place.
Yeah, and that communication can be quite subjective depending on the company. So I'm not blowing my own trumpet here at all, but we worked with Tesla, and so we thought, wow, we're going to have to be really on this, and we're going to have meeting after meeting after meeting. What we actually realized and what they preferred is they just wanted to do it themselves. They said, yeah, thanks, we'll now run with this, which is great, but we still need those touch points. We still can't assume assumptions in customer success, and when we offer a service that we do in our group here with us three, we can't just assume that everything's okay and they're fine, because what will happen, Carolyn, is it will come to whatever the model is. It might be a renewal, it might be an assessment, it might be a success rate, a score rate, and they might just turn around and go, no, we don't need you anymore, and we're off. And then there's always a sales element to every business, and then we go, well, why couldn't we have stopped this, or what, or why have they suddenly decided to throw the towel in? Those communication elements, those touch points, are vital, not only to stop that, but to understand what the customer wants at source and the earliest point. So when we look at what Nick was showing, the beauty of that and looking at onboarding is we can then get a touch point after the onboarding and go, okay, are you going to be okay? Obviously not worded like this, but are you going to be okay with the next few stages, or are we off on the right foot, or is there anything else we need before we move on? Whereas what can happen in a lot of companies is they just go, okay, you've done the onboarding, let's move on. And then they get to the end, they go, we're not really interested in this, or it wasn't what we wanted, it wasn't what we thought it was, which really, it can be quite frustrating. So regardless of your size, regardless of your industry, those communication touch points are vital. Where they sit in the customer journey is going to be subjective, but we cannot assume that they're going to be okay throughout this journey, throughout this roadmap, and assume that they're going to come back again. So yeah, the Teslas wanted to run with it, and I still contacted them, and they didn't get back to me, but it was fine because they heard my voice, they just didn't reply. But then what I was able to do is just make sure that they were comfortable with everything that they were doing, and they eventually got back to me, Carolyn, and they're busy creating cyber trucks and Starlink and all sorts. But so it wasn't Musk that I spoke to, but we were able to get through to them, and they were huge. And the flip side is I've dealt with VR startups, and they were on it. They wanted a weekly call, they wanted a QBR, they wanted every single touch point that we could get. Now, I'm a huge fan of a health score, because a health score, you can have so many metrics that feed into it, and a health score gives us a really good holistic view of how you're doing. And the beauty of that is I can then jump on you to make sure that you're okay. I'm not going to hound you, because I'm going to know what your best way of communicating is. And we're really flexible. If you want a Teams chat, we'll have a Teams chat. If you want me to come over, I'll come over. Or shall we email? It doesn't matter. So communication is vital along that customer journey. It's just how it looks and what form it takes can be subjective.
That's fascinating. How would you so internally, how do you communicate your strategies to employees to make sure they're successful? So for instance, what have you found, builds the success within a business to make sure everybody's on board and understands what's going on?
It is ensuring that the people that need to be involved are involved. Luke, you touched on something really important about, it might have been this department that was doing something, but marketing shared the photo, or whatever it was, or Nick with the onboarding, it was the operations team that did the onboarding, but hang on, there's another department that is going to be involved in this, or however it looks. So it's got to be corral everyone together from your departments, and whether I set up different meetings or different processes for the different departments is irrelevant. The most important thing is everyone that needs to be aware is aware, and then those touch points can be departmentalized if they have to be, because yeah, like I said, could be marketing or actually releasing footage or quotes or whatever it is, but it's come from the operations team. There's so many times where it comes across different departments. So I just make sure I tick every box, Carolyn, and I speak to everyone that I need to. And you can tier it then, can't you? It can be to the heads of, and then go down.
Yeah, it definitely is all about communication, isn't it?
It's so it's such a big word, but it's such an important word, especially when we deal with these sort of hurdles. Cybersecurity. There's no point a company, ABC Limited, doing cyber training and 3 people were on the course and then it doesn't get communicated to the rest, because that's when you'll get your leaks and you'll get something that falls through, because 3 people out of 100 know about it. And so myself especially, but as a group, we're really hot on how are we circulating this information. Now you've received X from us, how are you now going to circulate that, communicate it? And that's when we help. We're advisors as well as just departments, whether it's customer success. We're here to advise as well, and we're not going to start the clock and then bill you some time. We're going to advise because it's going to help both of us. So yeah, I'm a big believer in that.
Oh, that's fantastic. I really appreciate your thoughts on that. It's I think we've had a good overall session today. If anybody does have any questions, please reach out to us. It's been a phenomenal session. Like I said, if you haven't managed to see the links in the chat, we are going to send them to you afterwards. So really don't worry about that. Utilize them. We've got some great downloads, great demos for you. Really appreciate you coming on board and staying with us for the session, and also helping out with our polls, which I've got one more to put up. So if you'll just bear with me, we've got one here from IMSM, and we're going to launch it. If you wouldn't mind answering that before we finish our session for the day, for the morning, that would be fantastic. So basically what we've asked you is, do you have an information security management system in place, such as ISO 27001? We'd be curious to find that out.
Yeah, and I think what will be quite interesting is it might not have been something that they were thinking about, but after today, we're hoping that it will be. We can start to see people with no plans, but it could be that changes. And that's the beauty of these webinars, and the beauty of us as a group with our company is that you can always just reach out to us whenever. It doesn't mean that this was your one opportunity to speak to us and get information. We're going to be constantly in communication with everyone to see if this is something that you need. Because businesses evolve, especially cybersecurity. It evolves. AI is evolving. The way that we need a security management system is evolving. So I can imagine these thoughts changing throughout the year.
Yes, definitely. End and share results. Do you have an information security management system in place? We've got quite a high percentage say yes, all is good, which is great. And obviously that's what we want to see in this day and age, really. Somebody is struggling to implement it effectively. I think it can be overwhelming, especially with something like ISO 27001. Having a consultant on board really helps. They can hold your hand, they can guide you through. That's what we offer as IMSM.com. No, people are considering, some people have no plans, and there are people asking, what is ISO 27001? We're not going to talk about that now. It's an in-depth subject, but we are going to provide a free guide for you. And of course, you can reach out at any time to talk to us, any of us. So we're hoping that you do that. And we really appreciate the session today. Thank you, everybody, for taking your time and spending it with us and helping people out. That's what we're all here for. So I do appreciate it. There's a very small exit survey on the way out. So please, if you can, just answer that. It's just one question. We'd really appreciate that. So we are going to end the session now. Just want to thank you very much. This will be online, so please share it and please make use of all the links. So just want to say goodbye and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.